How familiar are you with what you eat? Last December, my 26-year-old sister got breast cancer, and it forced me to go back to the doctor and find out what is it that we eat that affects how we behave or how our bodies act. And so today's talk will be about technology, food, and you. And we'll start with some revolutionist history. We'll talk about the food industry itself. We'll talk about symptoms versus prevention, and then talk about what we can do about that. The Industrial Revolution started about the same time the country did, and really what it introduced was automation and process. And that's affected us in so many ways. We no longer work in the fields. We go to an office and we sit, and then we get in our cars and then we go through a drive-through and then we come home and we sit. And the internet revolution did something very similar. We have all the world's information right at our fingertips. And if you don't believe me, ask your spouse about your iPhone habit. You constantly have information, you're constantly connected. Now that also translates into social media. The promise of the internet is really taking effect today. You have these friends that you used to have in other physical locations, and now you can connect to them, and you can connect to like interests as well. So you're never far away from somebody who is just like you. The food revolution is something on television, but it is a revolution nonetheless. Jamie Oliver taught us that 5,000 school districts in this country have contracts with fast food companies. Now, that's something to think about. Something else to think about is that there are 3 pillars to the food industry in terms of sales: sugar, salt, and fat. You think about the syrup with bacon and chicken waffles, or the bloomin' onion with literally the surface area to adhere to fat, you've got something. The average American eats 53 teaspoons of sugar a day. This is not by mistake. These foods are engineered. When I grew up, there were basically 3 or 4 different types of ice cream. Now there are hundreds. 98% of the flour that we eat in America is refined, white, and full of nothing but easily digestible fat. It's engineered this way so that we eat faster and we eat more of it. Deep frying is another trick of the food industry. 40% of content that comes into something like these deep fried dishes is now taken down to 5% with water. 40% of water is now 5%, replaced with fat. Even 100% natural flavors, bullshit. You can put artificial anything in there, but you still have the 100% natural flavors that were added to. Marketing is bigger than regulation. These cows are not standing just in mud. There are also hundreds of these cows in a single burger patty. I'm not even talking about these things when I talk about the way that food and technology interact, but they are an important part to understand why it's important to use technology. Framingham, Massachusetts, a small community outside of Boston, introduced the aggregation of data for medical and food use. A lot of our cures came from the fact that these people tracked their health habits. They're fighting an industry that spends $8 billion just on cancer research, on treating it. They're not trying to prevent it, they're trying to treat it. And they don't separate the marketing from the actual product development. But only 5 to 10% of cancer is caused by genetics. 70 to 80% is actually caused by diet and behavior. Think about that for a second. 70 to 80% diet and behavior. We can be our own preventers. And technology can help us. Every single person who has a smartphone has access to this information. Tracking back to the revolutions, applications can tell us what's in our food, what chemicals are chemicals are in our foods. Tracking back to social networks, patients like me, MyFitnessPal, track your own aggregate data for your own benefit, and if you want to share it, you can. You don't have to, but these are the ways that we're benefiting each other, and we're overcoming the marketing. Don't think it works? This is me 6 months ago. 28 pounds heavier, 45 sizes larger. I lost a bunch of my triglyceride problems and my cholesterol problems. I fit into those pants pretty snugly just last December. One person won't make a difference. McDonald's is now the #1 buyer of apples in the United States. You know why? Because people were pissed. Their kids were getting fries with their Happy Meals, and so they said, well, we're going to give you at least a little bit healthier alternative. We'll give you apples. There's a lot more of this information available online. Use the revolutions to your advantage. I've got a URL up here. I've put all my sources on there. All of the stuff is checked out. I encourage you to look into it more. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.